Hello! How are you today? It is Shan from shanmerchant.com. I'm a relationship coach and an intimacy teacher, and I am shooting to you live from a beautiful evening in Ibiza. How are you all today? So I wanted to shoot this little video for you today about chemistry and dating. How necessary is it to have chemistry in your relationship when you're dating? How much should you have? What do you do if there's no chemistry? So, it's like the golden question, isn't it? So I wanted to talk a little bit about this today because it's actually a question I often get asked by my clients. And so firstly, what is chemistry? Chemistry is that spark. Chemistry is that like intense connection, that attraction, that the emotional connection when you meet someone. And this cannot be faked. And from my experience, often you can tell in a split second if there's a physical connection, if there's a chemistry between someone. And so it's really important actually to get out on a physical date. So if you are internet dating at the moment, I want to really encourage you not to get into one of those relationships where you spend a lot of time getting to know each other over the internet, sharing a lot of your life and your personal details before you actually go out on a physical date. Because what can happen is you get really excited about this potential new match, and you might spend a couple of weeks talking to them, and then when you meet them, in a split second you know that there's not that chemistry there, and you can be incredibly disappointed. And from my experience in my own relationships with my clients, observing my friends, if there's nothing there in the beginning, if there's no chemistry, then it's very difficult to really progress actually, because you're constantly trying to get that chemistry or waiting to see if that chemistry is there. And what it means is that if you're spending 3 months, 6 months, 9 months waiting to see if that connection is there, then you're actually out of the dating pool, and so you're not available to meet someone that you actually have that instant connection, that chemistry with. And so it doesn't have to completely blow you away, but there has to be some chemistry there. And I guess the main theme today of my video is awareness. Actually, I want you to be aware of what forces are in action when you're going on a date. So for example, when you first go on a date and you're feeling that chemistry, you've got to remember that a lot of it is chemical. So there's a lot of neurohormones that have been released in those very early stages of dating, those really heady times when you're so excited and you can't wait to see them. And so it's almost like a bit like a chemical addiction, really, that the intensity of that excitement. And there's neurochemicals such as testosterone, estrogen, dopamine, noradrenaline, serotonin. So there's this massive cocktail of all of these chemicals that are going around your body. And one thing in terms of to be aware of is this really heady period is not sustainable. It's there in the beginning, and it will decrease over time. And the way that it works is all of these neurochemicals, they decrease slowly over time as you get to know someone. It's like because in the beginning it's like there's a lot of infatuation and fantasy and suspense and excitement as you get to know someone, but you don't know the real person. This is all projection, really. And as time passes, what happens is that sort of cloud passes away and you get to see who the real person is, and that's when and that's actually normal. So, I have met people, I've had clients where they've been really constantly driven, looking for that really intense high, that chemistry, and thinking that, when it doesn't last, that means that they're not suited to that person. But I think it's really helpful to realize that in the beginning, when you go on those dates, there is a lot of chemicals going on in your body. There's a lot of, it's a big chemical force, chemical love going on. And so you're really feeling all of this, and the natural progression actually is, as time, passes and you get to know someone, up to 3 months to 6 months, some of that real excitement really starts to settle and go more into a grounded sort of energy where you really get to start to know that person. And this is natural, and it's as a relationship evolves and love evolves, then we get more into bonding and attachment and connection and authenticity. And that's where we have oxytocin, for example. That comes in actually to emotionally connect you further. And so this is all really natural. But I guess the reason I'm saying this is, like, don't get too hung up on the chemistry. There has to be some chemistry there, definitely, I would say. So if you go on a date and there's no chemistry at all on the date, I think sometimes actually, from my experience, I've gone on a date before and there's been nothing there at all, and I just have felt in a bodily sense, a sort of inner type of knowing that actually I didn't want to go on a second date. And I think it's important to listen to your body truth. But you might be like, oh, actually I'm not quite sure, and then go on a couple of dates to really sense and see if there's chemistry there. But there's got to be some type of chemistry. So I wouldn't progress if there's nothing there at all for you, no chemistry at all. And another thing to be aware of is that there's other factors that get added in terms of our attraction to someone, and we're often attracted to people that are familiar, and this might be a familiarity from our past. So for example, it might even be from a long time ago. Let's say you had a crush on some guy at school, and this new date reminds you of him, like the way he flicks his hair or the way he looks at you or something about how he moves his body. And so someone can be really attracted to us because we were reminded of something from the past. Particularly it might have been someone that we really had a crush on and it didn't end up working out, and we were 15 or something like that, and so it can bring back a really strong memory like that. And of course the other thing is there might be some type of father issue, mixed in there. Perhaps he is a trait like your father, and there's something there that reminds you of him, and so you want that, particularly if you've got issues in your own relationship with your father in terms of his availability. So I think it's really, really helpful again to be aware, and to think, what feels familiar here if you're feeling a really strong pull there. And the other thing as well, which I've seen too, is we can project. We constantly, as humans, we're constantly projecting onto other people, and we very rarely actually see one another who they really are. And we can project parts of ourselves onto others that actually we are not able to own ourselves. It's like our gold within, and we can project that onto them, and then we can find them irresistibly attractive because of that, because they have something that we don't have that we want, but it's actually ours. It's part of our journey actually, is to reclaim that for ourselves and start to express it. But that can be another thing that gets played out in these types of early relationships. So what I would say is, I'd just say really wonder about that. Is there a strong chemistry? Is there anything familiar being reenacted there for you? Is there no chemistry? Okay, so if there's no chemistry, what's your body telling you about that? Because remember that, the work, the powerful work for us is to come out of our thinking mind and really start to feel with our body and really connect to our inner wisdom, to our inner knowing. And our body, our body's really powerful. So our body, of course, gets really activated in the beginning because it's releasing all of these chemicals. But we've also got our inner guidance within. So be aware of if you are feeling that strong chemistry, there's lots of chemicals being released by your body. But also if there isn't any connection there at all, then your body's telling you something, that maybe there's you're not a good match. And so what I would say personally is what you really want is you want some chemistry, and then you also want shared values. Shared values are really, really important. So you can't have loads and loads of chemistry and then have no common values at all. And so when I'm talking about values, I'm talking about life values, like what's really important to you in terms of the type of person you want to be, how you want to treat other people, what's important to you in life in general. And so for long-term compatibility in a relationship, you have to have both. You have to have some chemistry, and you also have to have some shared values, like what's really, really important to you. And the other thing that I think is really, really important to be aware of, to be conscious of, because we want to be conscious daters, is actually, what do you want? What do you want in a partner? And to go into your dating, to go into your early relationships, knowing that, these are the things that I find really attractive. These are the things that I really want to, that I admire or I really want in a mate, and these are important to me. And I'll give you my list actually. So my list is intelligence. I really like someone to be intelligent because I want to have a good conversation. I love a good conversation. I love to sit around and talk, and intelligence is really important to me. chemistry, obviously, I need, chemistry, having that connection in that way is really important to me, because I want to build on that. I want to build on that and really have that deep relationship. But I need some chemistry as well. Wit is really, really attractive to me, actually. So that gets mixed up in chemistry for me, actually, because I love someone that's got a sense of humour and can laugh, and that has fun in life. I really, really love a nice smile. So again, for me, it's mixed up with a bit of the inner and the outer. I like some physical stuff as well. And, I really like a lovely smile. I love people's smiles. I love to smile myself. I love my friends' smiles. I love to smile into someone else's smile. So for me and a partner, a smile is really, really important. A good smile. It doesn't have to be a perfect smile. In fact, what I really love is I love a gap between the front tooth. And actually, here's an example. There was a old friend of mine, actually in my 20s, and he was married to one of my very dear friends. And one thing I always loved about him is he just had a mischievous smile. He was just a good friend of mine, and I just loved that gap in his teeth. And so now when I meet people who have a gap in their teeth, in the front of their tooth, it reminds me of him, and it makes me smile. And I just love, because I haven't seen him for years, actually. We live on opposite sides of the world. And he's a friend, but I just love that, I love that gap. So it doesn't have to be a perfect thing. It's like something interesting. I like something interesting about someone. And kindness and gentleness is really, really important to me. I love kind people. I love thoughtful people. I love gentle people. So those are the types of characteristics of people that I really love. And so, when I'm dating, those are the types of things that I know that I'm really, really interested in, as well as a bit of ambition, because I'm ambitious myself. And so I want someone that's got a bit of momentum. So I just thought I'd give you those examples so that, you could start to pull together your own list and know what you really want, because if we don't know what we want, then how are we going to choose in that direction? So yeah, that's what I'd say. So chemistry, yeah, you've got to have a bit of chemistry. You want a bit of that connection, because what we want to do is we want to build on that. We want to make these beautiful, authentic relationships that, we've got that sexual connection, we've got that emotional connection, we've got that stability, we've got that ability to really feel heard and feel seen, and, to have fun with. And so I'd say definitely a bit of chemistry is vital, and shared values, definitely shared values in life. And so tell me what you think. What have your relationships been like? Have you had relationships before where you haven't had much chemistry and you've managed to turn it around? Or have you had relationships where there's been big, massive sparks? How has that gone? I see some people, I believe that it has to have shared values as well to be able to progress. This is what I've observed around me, and I've seen in my clients. Tell me your stories. I'll be really interested. So anyway, that's for a goodbye from me, and I'll see you all soon.